Hi, everyone. This is Justice Watchers by Defenders Coalition. Defenders Coalition is an organization that works around protection, safety, and security of human rights defenders in Kenya and in the region. And in this series, Justice Watchers, we are profiling human rights defenders who risk their lives to protect our fundamental freedoms, to make sure that we retain our dignity, but also hold systems accountable. And our guest today is Toure Daudi, and I'd love him to introduce himself because we've been speaking and I am struggling to, just define you with one sentence.
So my name is Anami Daudi Toure. I'm a community organizer, a human rights defender from the social justice movement, Mukuru Community Justice Center.
Asante sana kwa kukuja. I know we are recording in the afternoon and the energies we might look like they're dipped, but I've enjoyed our conversation so far off camera. But tell us, ulianza hii kazi aje? How did you get yourself in human rights? Because it's a hard job. So how did you find yourself in it and how do you stay?
Yeah, so for me, as Anami Daudi, being a human rights defender started long way back when I was in primary school.
Really?
Yeah, in primary school. Actually, kitu ile mimi nilikuwa nafanya sana ilikuwa ni resist oppression. I remember someday nikiwa class 6, we went for another conference in a neighboring government school. Unajua mimi nilisomea hizi shule wanasemanga shule hizi za mabati za ghetto.
Oh, yeah.
So
za mtaani.
Za mtaani tu, cause pia kupata chance kwenda public school ilikuwa ni kazi nini na nini. Ilikuwa ni shida sana kwa mzazi kupata hiyo chance. Weze kwenda
access to public schools huchania na wakati mwingine zinakuanga further or very populated.
So tulienda ka conference huko na hii conference ilikuwa facilitated na World Vision, I remember. Then hiyo siku kila mwanafunzi alikuwa anapatiwa 300 Kenya shillings.
Okay.
But after that mwalimu akachukua doo zetu zote, then akasema leteni doo, tukampatia doo, then kurudi shule akaanza kusema ati hatuwapatii pesa, ati pesa tunawekea bash. Then nikaanza kuuliza sasa bash, nani alisema tunataka bash? So hapo ndio ikakuwa ni nani analeta shida na ati yako class 6. Una imagine.
Yeah. So that was your first act of resistance.
Yeah. Nani wanaleta shida ati sijui ati pesa nini. Then mimi nilienda tu kwa mwalimu nikamwambia ni aje tulipewa pesa na kila mtu alipewa pesa yake na mkachukua pesa na tena sasa hivi mnatuambia story ya bash. Nani alisema tunataka bash? So from there ilibidi kila msee arudishwe pesa yake.
Oh, look at you.
Ilibidi kila msee arudishwe pesa yake. So mimi naona activism ilianza kitambo. So na ilikuwa pia ni kusimama tu what was right.
Yeah, truth to power. Kitambo. Yeah.
So being also a community member growing up in Nairobi informal settlement, there are a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Watoto wana face growing up, there are issues, pressing issues, vices in the community, zile zenye nimekuwa nikipitia as a child. Na pia nimekuwa nikigrow up, naona kwa community hakuna mentors, hakuna watu waku guide like kusema this is the leadership, this is what is right, because growing up in a community where hata huoni anyone who can be your mentor, vitu kama hizo. That's where started organizing, because nilikuwa pia nacheza ball, tunapata na watu hili.
Ulikuwa taka community
unite, because tukaanza mambo za clean up hapo, kuleta watu pamoja. Kwanza kuleta tu change mtaani, but na change ni kitu inawezekana kuleta wase pamoja.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I'm glad you speak about grassroots mobilizing and how it brings about social change. But kabla tuende deeper, or maybe this is what deeper is, in informal settlements or in low-income areas, one of the things that is very common ni story ya, evictions.
Yeah.
Na story ya, the contention of land and forced evictions, but generally just land rights. How does being a low-income area and the fact that the people who, mostly, whether it's a system, whether it's government trying to, expand anything, that specific crisis finds a lot of low-income area people, but also in intersect na vitu zingine kama economic justice na vitu kama hizo.
So kwa hizi vitu za land and housing rights in the informal settlement kumekuwa na a lot of challenges. Na ukiangalia the way the city is structured, like Nairobi, informal settlements host about 60% of the population of Nairobi. Na ukiangalia hao watu, the system is designed there just to offer labor to the nearby neighborhoods or maybe the industries. But kumekuwa na contentious on issues about land and also the living conditions, material conditions at the informal settlement, in terms of housing, access to basic services, because of security of land tenure. Kumekuwa na issues, na ukiangalia whenever a state want to do a project or maybe something, they target the people who live in informal settlement brutally, evicting them without even dignity, killing even people in the process. They are destroying their livelihoods and everything. But we have a constitution to protect where it guarantees everyone right to decent housing. Because for us, we are not against the state doing evictions, but doing it in a humane manner.
Yes, humane, dignified way.
Dignified way. For example, like the evictions that happened after the floods, you can imagine people are evicted across the riparian land. These people, their livelihoods, their houses.
They've never known any other home.
Yeah, they've never known any other home apart from that place. Then the government comes and evicts you. You have no place to go. Uko na watoto, uko na ng'ombe yako hapo, uko na mbuzi yako hapo. Hapa ndio imekuwa ni ocha kwako. Then the government inakubomolea, ujui mali penye huko, then inakuja na kuambia nakupatia 10,000 Kenya shillings.
My gosh, what are you supposed to do with that?
You can imagine. Then the government badala ifanye hivi, ikuje ifanye enumeration, ijue nani anakaa hapa. Si wanasema wanajenga affordable housing, ijue nani anakaa hapa, ni watu wangapi, profile before you're doing evictions. Then niwaambie, we have these houses, tokeni hapa mkuje kwa hizi nyumba, hapa mali pemekaa ni dangerous, then wakuja wapevwe out na mtu akipinga
ama akiprotest,
because kila mtu ana deserve dignity. Na hiyo ndio article 43 of the constitution inatupatia. And we have seen that even not the riparian land, like in 2021 what happened in Mukuru kwa Njenga, the area that I come from, walibomolea over 40,000 people were displaced. You can imagine.
And where are those people supposed to go?
And where government haikupeana alternative, au watu wanafaa kutoka hapa waende hapa. You can imagine even as you are speaking, kuna watu bado wanakaa kwa makeshift tents right now as we are speaking.
That's sad.
Kuna watu wanakaa let's say 3 kilometers from CBD, kuna watu wanakaa in makeshift tents in Nairobi.
That's sad. That
you
is
can
sad.
Imagine.
That is sad. And you know, when we were speaking earlier, tumesema there's a way we are missing in terms of the story, how we tell the story about human rights. Kuna vile we alienate access to basic needs, as we call them in English, as a human right violation. But nilikuwa nataka tuguzie evictions because it brings along every other things like access to water, because when you're living in a makeshift, most likely you're not going to school. Most likely you're not able to access health. How mbona tuna alienates?
So the problem with that is that you see there's issue of security of land tenure, because most of this land is being owned by private developers who acquired it in dubious way. Like the land in Mukuru, we're still having many cases in courts. They have lagged there since 2012. Kuna kesi hata iko kotini haijasikizwa mpaka leo. Ukienda uko file imepotea.
The judicial system is also another.
The judicial system, because unasikia sijui kuna file imepotea, sijui kuna nini. So mara kwanza tulienda kuambia file imepotea. Mara pili tumeenda juzi, unasikia jaji yuko mwenye alikuwa anakalia hiyo kesi nini na nini. So kuna kesi since 2012 mpaka sasa haijasikizwa.
That is sad.
Haijasikizwa. Then these basic services, they are attached to issues concerning with land, because hospitali ikitaka kujengwa lazima itajengwa kwa hiyo shamba. Then the government says that this land iko na issues, we as government we cannot put resources here kutengeneza hospitali, kutengeneza shule. So the government has privatized like almost everything in the informal settlement.
Yeah, the conversation about privatization of
water,
of
health,
basic needs.
Because in informal settlement, when you walk just around like between 10 to 30 meters hautakosa kuna chemist hapo, duka la dawa, hautakosa kuna mtu anauza maji, ziko mingi nini na nini, because
they're feeling a need.
Yeah, there's that need because the settlement is overpopulated, then hakuna hospitals, then hawa watu sasa wana take advantage kweka easy businesses.
In it's profit, yani lack of access to things is profit to other people.
Yeah, to other people.
As we move, I started to move from the conversation about basic rights and how that is connected to, you know, socioeconomic repression, na general just human rights. But umekuwa very vocal in talking about police excesses, and especially how those affect vijana wa mtaani. And especially tuseme in the current political status as it is, zimekuwa mingi, but venye tumekuwa tukiongea hizi vitu zijaanza kuhappen saizi. These things have been happening in vile saizi zimetouch other prominent people, therefore everyone is talking about it. Could you tell us more about this?
Yeah, so we have been speaking about police brutality for quite
a long
period of time, because these are things have been happening all over and over. We have seen the issues of arbitrary arrest, like on every weekend or maybe on a holiday. When you visit all these police stations, their extortion is dense. Polisi anakuja tu anapata vijana wamekaa mahali ama watu wamekaa mahali, anawashika, anawapeleka cell, then anawaandikia bangi, then mtu anaona kukaa hapa mpaka Monday, anaambiwa toa 5,000. So anatoa 5,000. Hii ni moja ya kesi zile zenye ziko about police brutality.
Arbitrary arrest.
Yes. Na imekuwa ikiaffect sana vijana. There are issues of abductions, where even my own friend was abducted way back when I was about 16 to 17 years. My friend was abducted, akapatikana ameuliwa, ametupwa kwa forest.
Oh, wow, I'm sorry.
Then going to that burial, actually that burial is the one that baptized me to be an activist because when we were on our way there, polisi walikuja wakatushika, wakatuweka industrial police station. Then
when you on your way to the burial?
Yeah, the burial, wakatusimamisha gari, wakatushika, sisi we are peaceful, hakuna mtu ameibia mtu nini, tukapelekwa pale, tukaandikiwa bangi, kila mtu alikuwa na
that's sad,
na 12 rolls of bank. Surprisingly kulikuwa hatukwenda kupumzika, tukashikwa, tukaambiwa sisi ni wezi nini, ni kuprofile tu. Then surprisingly hata kulikuwa na one of my uncle, police officer there industrial area. Napigia mama yangu, anamwambia kijana anavuta bangi nini, mama yangu anamwambia kijana hata vile namjua hizi vitu unasema kwangu na engage nazo, mimi namjua vizuri sana na kitu anafanya. Kijana anacheza mpira nini kwa hata mimi bangi mimi sijaivuta bangi.
Gosh.
So tulikana, ilikuwa na weekend na kulikuwa na long holiday between, tulikaa weekend, tulikaa like 3 days. Tukakuja tukaachiliwa. Ile pesa tulikuwa tumechanga ya matatu ya kutupeleka mazishi, imagine police officers walichukua hiyo pesa yote.
That is not even right.
Walichukua hiyo pesa yote. That's an issue yenye bado
it happens.
It happens. It happens. Then kuna issue of police killings. Police have been killing young people in poor neighborhoods. We have been documenting, for example, in Mukuru Community Justice Center, we've been documenting these cases. Vijana wameuliwa wengi sana. Then hizi cases tunafuatilia na witnesses, tunaenda postmortem linafanyika, tunaita IPOA. Tumedocument hizi cases, yet these cases are not going anywhere. Kuna issue between IPOA, kuna judiciary, kuna mambo ya DPP hapo. So kuna a very tedious process. Ile mpaka inafanya watu wana lose.
Plus you're already mourning.
Nini. So kwa hiyo process, yes, sisi kama Justice Center tumemake sure umeenda counseling, umeenda hizi process zote and everything. Then unakuja unakaa like 5 to 7 years. Ndio kesi yako unasikia ati inataka progress iende kotini.
That's a long time.
So kuna a lot of issues happening around that. Then kuna hizi issues pia zimekuwa zikihappen, abduction. Mtu tu anashikwa, unapata mtu aonekani, mtu anaenda na fichwa for some time, unaona wengine anaachiliwa, wengine wanapatikana wamepotea, mwingine ameuliwa, ametupwa kwa shimo. So there are a lot of issues about right to life because it's enshrined in our constitution. Then the people who are supposed to protect right to life, that the police officers, but they're the ones who are taking people's lives. You can imagine.
We were speaking about police reforms and what is required. Na kuna msee alisema siku hizi tukiongea story ya police reforms inakuanga kuchange uniform, you know, lakini nothing about the structural way or venye police force iko weaponized against wananchi wa kawaida. We're not talking about those things.
Yeah, and you see, this is a systematic issue because it started way long back ago, because the police were introduced in 1902 to protect the rich and brutalize the natives. So hii ni culture imekuwa ikiendelea na mpaka sahi. As we talk about reforms zile tumeona tu ni uniform. They say at you know, like the current government said that police are supposed to be independent according to our constitution and the laws that we are having as a country. But you can imagine what is happening in the country. Police wana control tu kama remote. People are not supposed to protest and everything. You just go and kill them. Just do anything because we'll protect you. You can imagine.
It's part of the machinery. Sasa kuna kitu Kenya kwenye iko, most of us have become, wachani tumeji na carelessly woke. Either tume-elevate kwa human rights defenders ama tuko active citizens. Na kuna movements mingi sana zime spring up. As a young person, na mtu mwenye amekuwa kwa movement for a long time, what is the one thing, how do you feel about the fact that now all of us are active citizens and human rights defenders to some extent? But secondly, ni lessons gani wewe umesoma kama mtu mwenye amekuwa kwa movement since you were 17 or younger, ambazo saizi watu wenye wana join movement, which is very good. Ni vizuri human rights defenders wakuwe wengi, ambazo wana miss.
I appreciate almost everyone now in Kenya is becoming a human rights defender.
This is true.
Hii ni kitu tumekuwa tunapigania na tuna encourage Kenyans for a very long period of time. We've been on the street, tumearestiwa mara mingi. And during the period that we were being arrested, kuna Wakenya walikuwa wanasema these are idlers, nini. Like for example, the last year's finance bill. We protested, we were arrested. Tumetoka leo tena station, tumekaa siku moja tena tumeenda, tumeprotest parliament, tumeshikwa. So watu wengine walikuwa wanaona like we are idlers. But we are building momentum of what happened.
That's true.
Of what happened this year. Because watu tuliwaambia ile finance bill ingine ilikuwa mbaya nini na nini, na tukawaambia. So kumbe watu si ati walikuwa na watch. So unaona like the current finance bill venye ilikuwa and everything, because now like every citizen is concerned on how this government or maybe this state is being run by this government. Kila kitu wanaangalia wanaona hii venye watu wanafanya hapana. Like hata ukiingia social media right now utapata
there's a lot of political education.
Out of 10 we have like 7 or 8 people who are talking about politics, because politics na hizi zote na how we participate in governance in a determine where we are going as a country.
That's true.
That's very great. Na tumeona the level of consciousness across the country. We appreciate that. We have been doing people's assembly at grassroots level.
Yes.
We need to build on that momentum.
What
I'll encourage the people that have emerged, for your second question, just to respond to your second question, have emerged and also joined this process, is that we need to sustain this movement. We need to hold these leaders to account. We need to make sure, let's localize this conversation at community level. Let's hold our members of county assembly at community level accountable. Are they doing what they're supposed to do? Our members of parliament, our governors, so that we can also come at national level. Because right now we have seen people nationalizing this conversation. Yes, it's good nationalizing this conversation.
It's happening hapa.
Yeah, it's happening hapa, but it's the whole system.
That's true.
We also need to localize this conversation. Yes, we are saying this bad leadership at national level and everything. You have seen that. But it starts at your community level. Your members of parliament, are we holding them to account?
And what are the pathways? Because, you know, tunasemanga hold accountable, alafu tunaacha hivyo. Hatujui, siku hizi watu wameelewa public participation. Na kile kitambo wako wanajua, when these things happen, what is political education? Even kuchambua constitution ilikuwa inaachwa, story ya elections, you know.
Politicians wanatuchambulia constitution.
Na lawyers kutoka in the morning shows. But, so when you say what collaborates, if I was a young person at 17, what are the lessons you would tell me in terms of your challenges, especially? What are the challenges? The lessons of being part of the larger human rights movement? Secondly, what are the challenges that you come across other than, of course, you're arrested a lot of times?
There are a lot of challenges apart from also arrest. We have also another aspect of profiling because watu wengine kwa mtaa wanaona tu ni kama ni idlani na nini vitu kama hizo. Hiyo kitu tu nimeongelea hapo mara ya kwanza because there are people who are sycophants to politicians because wanapata hizo handouts, kuna benefits kidogo wanapata pale mtaani, kama kazi mtaani imekaa pale ameapatiwa asimamie nini na nini. So there are also those issues and also even accessing other services. Mtu kama mimi nikienda pale niseme for example hata hiyo kazi mtaani nataka kukua, ama watu wale wenye wako active wanaonanga nyinyi mnakuanga tu mnapinga serikali.
So una exempt kwa vitu kama hizo.
Vitu zingine kama hizo unakuwa, they forget that you are also a citizen and you are fighting for a just country. Unajua that's one of the challenge that most of young people face in their community. And also
especially human rights defenders specifically.
Especially human rights defender. And also encourage them also to join the movement space so that they can also air out their views, because in the next 5 years they'll also participate in terms of voting, in also making decisions. They also need to be part of this process and this conversation of changing this country and pushing the conversation on how we want this country to be in future, because hao ndio wanakuja pia kwa space.
That's true.
Nao pia ndio wanafaa pia kuwa part. Tusiachie juu tunasemanga hata ikifika hiyo time ya kufanya vitu zingine public participation ni nani, tunaachia wazae ndio wanaenda public participation. Then hao wanaenda na make decision, wanasema wanataka vitu zao, alafu sisi vijana pale mtaa tunataka grawe ijengwe, hakuna mtu alienda public participation, alafu grawe itajengwa, so wazae watapata privileges zao kwa sababu attend public participation.
That's true.
But we need to be part of that process to push our agenda. Na kitu nilikuwa nasema hapo, nikirudia kidogo hapo, ya ku hold leaders to account kwanza at community level. Tuna comment at national level, but wacha hii political education ianze at our doorstep. Wewe kwa nyumba kuna msee pale kwa nyumba. For example, mimi niko na wife, niko na wife hapo, nikitoka niko na mtoi, tunaongea hizi issues, tunadiscuss hizi issues even at family level, so that we can understand that we need change, na hii change ni yetu sisi wote, because akienda pale akimaliza shule aende pale UAE, Saudi Arabia job, ni atauliwa tu.
That's true.
But tukitengeneza hii country ikuwe better for all of us, ituta change na atapata conducive environment, atafanya job hapa, kila kitu itakuwa sawa. And that is accountability, hiyo tunataka tuanzie hapo.
Ukiangalia movement saizi
no.
na where we are as a country, what do you envision in terms of reforms zenye ziko attainable? Because kuna vitu, you know, like the things we have, like what you said in terms of we have built momentum. Kulikuwa na protests za finance bill, and that is what we saw build the momentum, but also education. What are the things that you would want to see changed in how we run the movement?
One is also giving young people the space to be in the movement, also in part of leadership and everything. That will be one of the change that I would like to see. And also the other thing is we as young people, we need to be on the front line and also to consolidate our efforts, because tumeona after the protests and everything, we have a lot of initiatives being run by different individuals. We are not giving each other solidarity. What we need to do also, we need to consolidate our efforts on the existing processes that are happening currently at community level, at national level, so that we can build a stronger movement. Right now I've seen watu wamekuwa divided. Some are doing their personal initiative. Let's build a movement, because a movement is a home for everyone. Mtu ukitoka pale unajua this is my home. But when you build movement at personality, we are going
That's true. It becomes fragmented.
So we need to consolidate our efforts and push our agenda so that we can be heard. Lakini sasa unajua mtu Toure akuja na initiative yake, we are not even offering each other solidarity. Inakuwa ni ngumu. Solidarity is key.
That's true.
movement.
Yeah.
We are
And also
fight-
intersections, because there's no single issue in human rights.
Yeah.
Kama ni housing intersects with water,
Yeah.
kama ni water intersects with land, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Na pia sisi tunapigania tu nchi ikue mzuri, kila kitu iendelee poa. We are in the same cause. Hakuna mtu anapigania, venye tunasema hizi vitu zote zina interconnect.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is sasa tuongee story ya resourcing. As people who resource human rights defenders in terms of people, either funders, what are the things you'd tell in terms of changing of models? Because wakati mwingine, as we were having this conversation, wakati mwingine human rights defenders are almost left in isolation. Na inakuwa either easy for them to be, what's the word when co-opted, or they're left to fend for themselves. Inabidi mtu give up, because kama una mtoi na wewe ni human rights defender na you're not employable because umemakiwa, you've been profiled. Secondly, hakuna organizations that kuchukua because you cause trouble, right? But I don't think some of those are some of the issues that funders sometimes, or people who resource human rights defenders, look at. What would you say in terms of changing the models of how we resource human rights defenders?
For me, I think the future is local community organizing and basing on collective organizing. Also, those people who support movements and everything, they need also to finance and also support local communities, community-based organizations, and the people who are doing organizing at grassroots level. Because we are just there at national level, then a lot of things are happening across the community. And also even the civil society, we are urging them to work with the people who are community. They are based in the community. They know how these things happens in the community. Not to be like helicopters just to come in a community, do an activity, then wanatoka wanaenda. We need to sustain this conversation. And sustaining this conversation, we need to have and also mentor the HRDs who are based at a particular community. They have a collective. We need to strengthen their capacity. Even if we have resources and give them so to run their independent activities and just to mentor them. Because a lot of things are happening within particular different communities.
The conversation about financing remains because it affects how much the autonomy of course, grassroots human rights defenders, but it also affects how the narratives, because mtu akikuja na pesa anakwambia this is the language of it. And I am sure we will get back to this conversation. But parting shot yako ni?
Just to respond to that first before my parting shot is that when you support, community organizing works on different aspects. Like right now, for the past 1 month, we have seen issues, femicide issues happening across that. And I've seen quite different HRDs doing different things concerning that. But hakuna mtu angepredict aseme by this period tutakuwa tunaongelea story ya femicide, tunaona kuna issues zile zina happen. Because there are a lot of emerging issues. That's why even donors need, the donors who are supporting local initiatives, even the NGOs, they need to adjust even their programming and how they are
financing models.
And their financing models on how they are responding to issues. Like 3 months ago, we were talking about police brutality happening everywhere. Now unapata nyinyi sasa mlikuwa mnafanya mambo ya GBV, so mnaona dona wenyewe waliopatia pesa mfanye kesi za GBV, but sasa saa hii
ile moto
sasa saa hii ni police killing. So unaona you have resources but you have only focused on a particular issue. Yes, we are saying hizi vitu zina happen. But at community, like for example at our justice center, we receive different cases. Kuna cases za labor, kuna cases za gender-based violence, kuna cases za police brutality, kuna other different complex cases zile zenye zinaripotiwa pale. But responding to these issues in a particular way, tuseme tu sasa, for us sisi Mukuru, we are only helping the people who are brutalized by police. Then now wengine wamekuwa defiled, wengine wamekuwa raped. How do we respond?
But these people are in the same communities, right?
In the same community. So ndio nasema even donors and funders, they need to understand these particular issues. Even the NGOs everyone.
And
wale
it's also
wanafanya
that we
kazi.
live multi-layered lives. You live as a youth, you live as a youth from a low-income area, you live as a youth who is at the risk of extra police, excesses, so you can't separate the issues that, communities face,
And also the other thing also about economic empowerment, you had also asked, we need also to empower HRDs. To venture into different businesses so that they can sustain this conversation, because mtapewa pesa leo na kesho sasa nani ata support Justice Center.
That's true.
Unaona?
Na of course kama HRDs wako, timamu in terms of dough or the economic resilience themselves, it becomes hard. Because HRDs are people.
Yeah.
Kama una kitu mfukoni, inakuwa ngumu taking care of yourself, taking care of your business. So it also becomes harder for you to, voice the issues, right? And that's how movement inakufa, because nami najua kuna watu
wengi sana
wamepotea movement sababu wenyewe.
Sasa angalia sasa hii story. Hata familia inakwambia hii story yenyewe bana. Hii story wewe bana wewe kelele sasa angalia hata wewe unga kuna bana wewe sasa wewe mwenyewe ndo unapigania watu na unalala njaa.
It doesn't make sense, And that's what I was saying in terms of in terms of capacity strengthening. I think one of the things that is most important ni conversation, economic empowerment. See a community ambayo it's very good, but pia human rights defenders wenyewe. In terms of skilling, whatever it is that is needed, but also prioritization. Because clearly, I do know that human rights defenders all over the world find it hard to find work, especially wale wa grassroots. Yeah.
Okay, na sasa unadhani mtu kama mimi naweza enda indani pewe job?
Ni ngumu. Ni ngumu.
Kwa sababu uta insight workers hapa bana.
Na ni kweli to insight.
Uta insight workers hapa bana.
But you become an employer.
Msana mguu hapo atavunjwa na mashini mguu alafu nini kama kuna cases zenye tuna receive unapata msee amevunjwa na machine job, then kampuni na dismiss hata wampatii do. Una imagine sasa mtu kama mimi nikiwa pale kwa hiyo kampuni sasa.
But you see that's the right way of doing things.
Waezi kubali mtu kama mimi wakiangalia wanasema hawa hii resistance yao wataileta hapa. So unaona hata kupata hizo job pia kama HRD ni tricky.
Kwa ngumu. Na movement yenyewe haisustain.
Movement yenyewe pia haisustain. Hizo ni vitu ni conversation pia tunafaa ku.
And sometimes protection includes your economic security. Ama it's not for a long time because it's not sustainable.
Like for example kama sahi kuna comrade alishutiwa on Sunday. Amvunjika mguu yuko hosi. Comrade akona keja, akona wife akona mtoi nafaa kama ni kwenda shule anaenda shule wanakula. Ako admitted Kenyatta. Una imagine sasa hiyo familia.
Yeah.
How will they survive?
Yeah. And it's that human rights defenders put their lives at risk for the rest of the people. And now the foreground. Yeah, but imagine ukiumia ni wewe na watu wenyu. And that's how the system works. And that is not how it's supposed to work,
So we need to offer solidarity to each other, even as HRDs. Si mdomo tu ya pale Twitter kusema tu quick recovery ama nini na nini, solidarity tumekupatia. We need to have that genuine solidarity in terms of even supporting each other. We have seen this also trying to work, HRDs contributing to support other HRDs. We also need to do that, but also we need to figure it out how we are also going to mentor them to have good, sustainable economic livelihoods as human rights defender.
What are your parting words, Mr. Toure? Because I know you'll have this conversation again and perhaps on a more deeper level, but at this point, nataka tuikate hapa. What are your parting shots?
So for me, I'll tell Kenyans and Africans, there are a lot of issues happening. Let's unite. Tuongee na sauti moja because sisi wote tunataka hiyo change. Na hiyo change ni mimi na wewe. Sidhani kuna mtu mwingine ati ni savior atatoka huko ataleta hiyo change hapo kwa community mahali pe unaona ama at country level. Ni mimi na wewe tu. So lazima tuweze kushikana, tuweze kubadilisha vitu ziweze kukaa venye sisi tunataka, because human rights is for everyone. Tutakuwa na mtoi na tunafightia pia future yetu ya watoi wetu. Sio sisi tuko tu hapa tunapita, but tunataka kuchange systems. Kila msee atakuja enjoy everything ile yenye tutakuwa tumefightia. Because hata ukiangalia Wangari Maathai alisema hii ati human rights, alisema human rights are not
I don't know which put you're human rights are
human rights alisema kuna quote yake naipendanga sana, sijui mbona nimeisahau.
Is it that they're not specific for specific people?
No, human rights are not it's not food put on the table so that you can enjoy. I think kuna quote kama hiyo.
Okay. That's a very good quote. Yeah.
Yeah, unaona?
Hautaletewa kwa
unaona? Hata matunda ikiwa kwa mti haiwezi ukingojea
lazima uangushe mwenyewe.
Lazima uangushe wewe mwenyewe. So vetu nimesahau hiyo quote.
Well, I'll look for it. So it's been a pleasure speaking to you. Najua tutaongea on a deeper level about these things. Asante kwa kukuja. This has been Justice Watchers by Defenders Coalition. Asanteni sana, and leave us comments and tell us what you think about the conversation generally around human rights, especially human rights protection in Kenya. Asanteni.